तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotee, thank you for joining. And today we'll continue from text 5 onwards. So, yesterday we saw, last week we started chapter 27, and where we started reading about as how Puranjana, the king, was completely engaged in enjoying the queen, and he forgot the time. Yeah. So we understood that now the similar way the jiva, he got inclined towards dharmic intelligence by giving up his sinful activities, and still he got caught with so many of karma kanda stuffs. Yeah. And then he was completely captivated. His intelligence was kind of more of captured by the karma kanda activities, and he was not thinking about any higher thing. So let us continue from text 5. Yeah, I think we will continue from text 5. Let's read out. Tyevam ramana ramamanasya kama kasmalachetasha shanardhamiva rajendra Vyatikarantam navam vayam. Is there Mataji?
Hare Krishna. My dear King, Prachina Barishad. In this way, King Puranjana, with his heart full of lust and sinful reactions, began sex with his wife, and in this way, his new life and youth expired in half a month.
Yeah. So basically, it seems like his just youth expired in a very short time. I mean, we realize the same actually, that oh my God, 30, 40, 40, 50 years has been passed, nothing has been done, especially. Yeah. So let us see this. Purport Prabhupada writes that Srila Govinda Das Thakur has sung, E dhana yavana putra parijana ethei ki ache pariti tere kamala dala jala jivan talamala bhajahu hari padani tere. Very beautiful actually the meaning is. In this verse, Srila Govinda Das actually says that there is no bliss in the enjoyment of youthful life. In youth, a person becomes very lusty to enjoy all kinds of sense objects. The sense objects are form, taste, smell, touch, sound. The modern scientific method or advancement of scientific civilization encourages the enjoyment of these five senses. The younger generation is very pleased to see a beautiful form, to hear radio messages of material news and sense gratifying songs, to smell nice scents and nice flowers, and to touch the soft body or breast of a young woman and gradually touch the sense organs. All of these is also very pleasing to the animals. Therefore, in human society, there are restrictions in the enjoyment of five sense objects. If one does not follow, he becomes exactly like an animal. Thus, in this verse, it is specifically stated, Kama Kasmala Chetasa, the consciousness of King Puranjana, was polluted by lusty desires and sinful activities. In the previous verse, it is stated that Puranjana, although advanced in consciousness, lay down on a very soft bed with his wife. This indicates that he indulged too much in sex. The words Navam Vayam are also significant in this verse. They indicate that the period of youth from age 16 to 30, these 13 or 15 years of life are 15 years of life are years in which one can very strongly enjoy the senses. When one comes to this age, he thinks that life will go on and that will simply continue enjoying his senses. But the time and tide wait for no one or no man. The span of youth expires very quickly. One wastes his life simply by committing sinful activities. In youth, immediately becomes disappointed and disillusioned when the brief period of youth is over. The material enjoyment of youth are especially pleasing to a person who has no spiritual training. If one is trained only according to the bodily conception of life, he simply leads a disappointed life because bodily sense enjoyment finishes within 40 years or so. After 40 years, one simply leads a disillusioned life because he has no spiritual knowledge. For such a person, the expiration of youth occurs in half a moment. Yeah. Thus, King Puranjana's pleasure, which he took in lying down with his wife, expired very quickly. Kama Kasmala Chetasa indicates that the unrestricted sense enjoyment is not allowed in human form of life by the laws of nature. If one enjoys his senses unrestrictedly, he leads a sinful life. The animals do not violate the laws of nature. For example, the sex impulse in animals is very strong during certain months of year. The lion is very powerful. He is the flesh eater and is very strong, but he enjoys sex only once in a year. Similarly, according to religious injunctions, a man is restricted to enjoying sex only once in a month after the menstruation period of the wife, and if the wife is pregnant, he is not allowed sex life at all. So this is the law of human being. A man is allowed to keep more than one wife because he cannot enjoy sex when the wife is pregnant. If he wants to enjoy sex at each such time, he may go to another wife who is not pregnant. So these are all laws in Manu Samhita. So these laws and scriptures are meant for human beings. As such, if one violates these laws, he becomes sinful. So basically, the point is that uh, Puranjana's he realized that his youth actually is past just in a moment of time, and he was so much engaged in sense enjoyment. So the context is in a jiva, he is so much tied up in enjoying sense enjoyment, and he forget that time actually death is coming, and he could not have any kinds of spiritual knowledge. Yeah. So that's why Prabhupada writes in the last, he says that as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Param Brahma, Param Dhamam, Pavitram Param Bhavan. Krishna is the supreme pure, and if we change our consciousness from material enjoyment to Krishna, we become purified. This is the process recommended by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the process of Cheto Darpan Marjanam, cleansing the mirror of the heart. Yeah. Tashyam ajanayat putran puranjanyam puranjana satanya ekadasha virad ayushordam athad gayat. Kishori Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. The great sage Narada then addressed King Prachina Bhashit, O one whose life span is great, Virat. In this way, King Puranjana begot 1,100 sons within the womb of his wife Puranjani. However, in this business, he passed away half of his lifespan. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So in this verse there are several significant words, the first of which are Ekadasha Satani. Puranjana begot 1100 sons, within the womb of his wife and thus passed away half of his life. Actually, every man follows a similar process. If one lives for 100 years, at the almost, in his family life, he simply begot children up to the age of 50. Unfortunately, at the present moment, people do not live even 100 years. Nonetheless, they begot children up to the age of 60. Another point is that formerly people used to begot 100 or 200 sons and daughters. As well as we believe evident from the next verse, King Puranjana not only begot 110 sons, but also 1100 sons, but also 110 daughters. At the present moment, no one can produce such a huge quantities of children. Instead, mankind is very busy checking the increase of population by contraceptive methods. We do not find in the Vedic literature they ever use contraceptive methods, although they were begetting hundreds of children. Checking populations by contraceptive methods is another sinful activity. But in this age of Kali, people have become so sinful that they do not care of the resultant reactions of their sinful lives. King Puranjana lay down with his wife Puranjani and begot a large number of children, and there is no mention in this verse that he used contraceptive methods. Yeah, basically the point is that uh, even abortion is a sinful activity. And I remember my Guru Maharaj many times saying this point that no, Agrastha should be very much careful about not committing this sin of abortion. Like, okay, let us see the text 7. Dvitra dosha tatra satam pitra martaniyasha krate krai Shilaudarya guna peta puranjanya prajapate. So just remember that this is a context of the jiva. It's not a real Puranjana king and Puranjani queen. If the context is that how the living entity or jiva himself engages in its sense enjoyment that he forgets the real essence of life. Yeah. Yes, Advait Krishna Prabhu. Okay, Urmila Mataji.
Hare Krishna. O Prajapati, King Prachin Brashat. In the way, King Prunjana also begot 110 daughters. All of these were equally glorified like the father and mother. Their behavior was gentle and they possessed magnanimity and other good qualities. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I think Prabhupada mentioned in the previous purport that he also had 110 daughters. So children begotten under the rules and regulations of scriptures generally becomes as good as the father and the mother. But children born illegitimately mainly become Varna Sankara. The Varna Sankara population is irresponsible to the family, community, and even to themselves. Formerly, the Varna Sankara population was checked by the observation of a reformatory method called Garbhadana Sanskara, a child begetting religious ceremony. In this verse, we find that although King Puranjana has begotten so many children, they were not Varna Sankara. All of them were good, well-behaved children, and they had good qualities like their father and mother. Yeah. Even though we may produce many good children, our desire for sex that is beyond the prescribed method is to be considered sinful. Yeah. Too much enjoyment of any of these senses, not only sex, results in sinful activities. I mean, any of the senses actually. That's what Prabhupada mentioning here. So therefore, one has to become a Swami or Goswami at the end of his life. Yeah, Goswami means what? Go means senses, and Swami means the controller. So the become Goswami means controller of the senses, Like Rupa Goswami says, Vacho Begum, Vaso Begum, Jiva Begum, Udarupaste Begum, Yetan Vedanu Visheta Dhira. Vacho Begum, Jiva Begum, Udarupaste Begum, yeah. And one may beget children up to the age of 50, but after 50, one must stop begetting children and should accept Vanaprastha order. In this way, he must leave home and then become a sannyasi. A sannyasi's title is Swami or Goswami, which means that he completely refrains from sense enjoyment. One should not accept the sannyasa order whimsically. He must be fully confident that he can restrain his desires from sense gratification. King Puranjana's family life was of course very happy. He mentioned in the verses, he begot 1100 sons and 110 daughters. Everyone desires to have more sons than daughters, and since the numbers of daughters were less than the number of sons, it appears that King Puranjana family's life was very comfortable and pleasing. Okay. Text 8. Yeah, so I mean, this is again just describing about how Puranjana being engaged in sense enjoyment and his family life grew. So the Jiva is the same, right? I think I was saying earlier, like when I was bachelor and after my engineering college, and I started my job and I was alone, and I went from my house and with just one bag with some clothes, and then I moved to a place, and there I lived for around 6-7 years in that city. And by the time I got married, I got one child, and then when I moved out from that place to another city, I had to hire a small mini truck to take all my luggages, like household items, So that the context is here, that increasing family life, yeah, and it happens with everyone. I'm not the exception, So everyone goes through the same process, engaged in so much in material activities, but there is a way out to go out, that is taking Krishna consciousness. Text 8. सपञ्चालपति पुत्रान् पितृवंशविवर्धनां धारैः संयोजयम् आशा धुयित्रसदृशैर्वरैः. Rupesh Prabhu?
After this, King Puranjana, king of the Panchala country, in order to increase the descendants of his paternal family, married his sons with qualified wives and married his daughters with qualified husbands.
Yeah. So it's again the same family life, right? The parents, they have children, and then when time comes, they try to get their children married to a qualified husband or qualified wife, right? So what this Puranjana is doing, so we can relate it like to our own self, how this story talks about us itself as a jiva. Yeah. Let us see text 9. Putrana cha bhavam putra ekaikasya satam येर्वै पुरञ्जनो वंशा पाञ्चालेषु समेधिता. Yes, tell Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Of his many sons, each produced hundreds and hundreds of grandsons. In this way, the whole city of Panchala became overcrowded by these sons and grandsons of King Puranjana.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously, this is how the family grows. So we must remember that Puranjana is the living entity. So reminder, yeah, this is talking about living entity. And the city of Panchala is the body. The body is the field of activity for the living entity, as stated in Bhagavad Gita Kshetragya, chapter 13, right? So there are two constituents. One is the living entity, Kshetragya, and the other is the body of the living entity, Kshetra. So Kshetra means the field, and Kshetragya means the knower of the field, which is living entity. And there are two Kshetragya, the living entity as well as Krishna or Paramatma. Any living entity can know that he is covered by the body if he only contemplates the body a little bit. Just with a little contemplation, he can come to understand that the body is his possession. One can understand this by practical experience and by authority of Shastra. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.13, it is said, Dehinosmin yatha dehe. The proprietor of the body, the soul, is within the body. The body is taken as Panchala Desa, or the field of activity wherein the living entity can enjoy the senses in their relationship to the five objects, namely Gandha, Rasa, Rupa, Sparsha, Shabda. So that is the sense objects made out of earth, water, fire, air, and sky. Within this material world, covered by the material body of subtle and gross matter, every living entity creates actions and reactions, which are hereby known as allegorically as the sons and grandsons. Yeah. So these are the actions, reactions, because it continues from life after life, unless until we think about cutting this down, it continues, grows on and on. So there are two kinds of action and reactions, pious and impious. In this way, our mental existence become coated by different actions and reactions. In this regard, Sri Narottama Das Thakur states, कर्म कांड ज्ञान कांड केवल विषय भांड अमृत्य बलिए जेव खाए नाना योनि सदा फिरे कधर्य भक्षण करे तारा जन्म अध पाते आया. Futile activities and mental speculations are simply cups of poison. Whoever drinks of them, thinking them to be nectar, must struggle very hard life and after life in different types of body. Such a person eats all kinds of nonsense and becomes condemned by the activities of so-called sense enjoyment. Yeah. So thus the field of action reactions by which one's descendants are increased begins with the sex life. And Puranjana increased his whole family life by begetting sons and grandsons, and it continues from there. Yeah. Also Prabhupada quoting from Prahlad Maharaj, very beautiful famous verse, Yan Methunadi Gramedi Sukham Hi Tucham. So says that Yan Methunadi Grahamedi Sukham Hi Tucham. This is, let's see, a Gramedi is one who wants to remain within the material existence. This means that he wants to remain within this body or society and enjoy friendship, love, and community. His only enjoyment is in increasing the number of sex enjoyers, like that. Yeah. Let's see this verse description, translation, very beautiful actually. He says, the sex life is compared to the rubbing of two hands to relieve an age. And Gramed is so-called Grahasthas who have no spiritual knowledge. So I think we discussed this point earlier as well, Gramedi and Grahastha. So Gramedi they are in a family life, but they do not have any spiritual knowledge. And Grahastha ashram, where they are in family life, but they have spiritual knowledge, they follow scriptures. Think that this teaching is the greatest platform of happiness, although actually it is source of distress. The Karpanas, or the fool, who are just the opposite of Brahmanas, are not satisfied by repeated sensuous enjoyment. Those who are Dhira, however, who are sober and who can tolerate this itching are not subjected to the suffering of fools and rascals. I think there's a very beautiful example is quoted in this context by I heard it from Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, and he quoted that it was quoted by His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj, and the example he gave was amazing. Actually, he said that in sometimes we have some itching in our body, so initially it itches a bit less. So when we start scratching it through our nails to the skins, right, as we continue scratching it, the itching grows more, and we have to continue scratching more. And meanwhile, what happens that we can't stop. The itching goes so deeper that sometimes while scratching, even blood comes out. And even while blood is coming out, but the itching goes more deeper that we even can't tolerate it. So we continue itching or scratching, even if the blood is coming out. So that is Maharaj says that if you can control the itching in the very first time and tolerate it, then we might not have this blood coming out more from the wound. Because we started scratching, the itching grows more, and then we see the blood, and still we can't stop anymore. We still continue scratching it. Yeah. So that was an example by Maharaj given that how this sense desires or sense enjoyment desires goes on and on and on. I think there was one more devotee was saying beautifully said that it's like fire, putting ghee in a fire. So by putting ghee in the fire, it never stops the fire. Rather, it grows the fire. So if we give the sense object the sense, if we give the sense object, sorry, if we give the senses the objects for enjoyment, then the desire will grow on increasing. It will never substitute. So the best way is to not give the object the senses. Yeah, and the very best way is using the senses in Krishna consciousness. Yeah, okay. Let us see text 10. Teshu tad riktha hareshu griha koshanujivishu niruddhena mamatvena vishveshva badhyata. Yes, Kishori Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. These sons and grandsons were virtually plunderer of King Puranjana's riches, including his home, treasury, servants, secretaries, and all other paraphernalia. Puranjana's attachment for these things was very deep-rooted. Hare Krishna.
Oh yeah, I think on last Friday we were discussing this point a bit. That how the family members are actually plunderers, virtually plunderers. Yeah, let's read out. In this word, the Riktha Hareshu means plunderers of the wealth is very significant. One's sons, grandsons, and other descendants are ultimately plunderers of one's accumulated wealth. Yeah. There are many celebrated businessmen and industrialists who produce great wealth and are highly raised by the public, but all their money is ultimately plundered by their sons and grandsons. Yeah, in India we have actually seen one industrialist who is like King Puranjana, was very much sexually inclined and had half dozen of wives. Each of these wives had a separate establishment that necessitated the expenditure of several thousands of rupees. When I was engaged in talking with them, I saw that he was very busy trying to secure money so that all his sons and daughters would get at least 500,000 rupees each. Thus, the industrialist, businessmen, or karmis are called mudas in the Shastras. They work very hard, accumulate money, and are satisfied to see that this money is being plundered by their sons and grandsons. Such people do not want to return their wealth to his actual owner, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram Megatabasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. The real proprietor of all wealth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I mean, I could remember one beautiful pastime, not pastime, I would say. I heard it, I think, when I was in standard 7th or 8th in India. I mean, I don't know why, but it never goes out from my head. So I was waiting. I was in a boarding school at the time as well. So I came out from my hostel, and then I had to take two buses to reach my hometown. So I took one bus from my school, the hostel, and then went to the first stop. There is always a gap. I mean, times for the next bus. So I was waiting there, and I was very fond of eating pani puri. So I was just waiting there, and I was eating pani puri. Like in India, it's everywhere you get it, pani puri. So one person, he came to the pani puri wala, and it says, "Oh, why do you stand here? Why don't you go to the society?" He says, "What happened in that society?" He says, "Because the society is rich people live there, and you will earn more." And I was just eating, and I was listening to the conversation. The pani puri wala, he replied in such a way that I was very much, it actually came in deeper to me in my heart. So then, what he said? He said that I am very much happy in here, actually. He said, "How come? You can earn more. Same time, same thing, you can earn more. If you are selling, 5 pani puris in 1 rupees, there you can sell 3 pani puris in 1 rupee, because they are rich people." So he replied that, I don't know how, but he replied very nicely. He said that, "I don't want to earn more. I am earning as much as my family can have food for every day. And I don't want to accumulate so much so that my son, when he grows up, he start enjoying my money and he don't work." I don't know why, but this always came in my mind, and that's till now I never forget that lines of this person. Is it what is Bhagavatam saying, that if we earn more, and basically we are this money is being plundered by the sons and grandsons. Yeah, so he said, "I'm very happy that whatever I'm earning, my family is getting food, my son is getting education, that's enough." Yeah. Okay. And also Prabhupada's quoting from 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Idam adya maya lobham imam prapsya manoratham idam asitam api me bhavishyati punardhanam. So that's the translation. The demonic person thinks, "So much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and I'll increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I've killed him, and my other enemy will also be killed. I'm the Lord of everything, and I'm the enjoyer. I'm perfect, powerful, and happy. I'm the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice." In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So in this way, people engage in various laborious activities, and their attachment for body, home, family, nation, and community becomes more and more deep-rooted. Yeah. So the point is, Puranjanas, or basically our desires, or hardworking. Is this how it is? Yeah. Okay. Text 11. Ije cha कृताभिर् घोरैर्दीक्षित पशुमारकैः देवान् पितॄन् भूतपतीन् नानाकामो यथा भवान्. Urmila Mataji?
Hare Krishna. The great sage Narada continued, My dear king, Prachin Bhattacharya, like you, King Prunjana also became implicated in so many desires. Thus, he worshipped demigods, forefathers, and social leaders with various sacrifices, which were all very ghastly because they were inspired by the desire to kill animals. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So basically, he's just bringing back uh, the context to King himself, that thus he worshipped demigods, forefathers, and social leaders with various sacrifices. So Narad Muni is putting it back again now and then to Prachina Bharitsat to remind him that somehow or other I'm actually telling your own story. I'm telling the story for all of Jivas, and you're the fitting now. So in this verse, the great sage Narada Muni discloses that the character of Puranjana was being described to give lessons to King Prachin Bharisat. Yeah. Actually, the entire description was figuratively describing the activities of King Prachin Bharisat only, isn't it? So in this verse, Narada Muni frankly says, like you, Yatha Bhavan, yeah, Yatha Bhavan, like you, yet like you, Kiran Puranjana. So which indicates the King Puranjana is none other than the King Prachin Bharisat himself. And being a great Vaishnava, Narad Muni wanted to stop animal killing in sacrifices. He knew that if he tried to stop the king from performing sacrifices, then king would not hear him. Therefore, he describes the life of Puranjana. Yeah. So, okay, let us see one more verse. Text 12. युक्तेष्व एवं परमत्तास्य कूटं भाषक्तचेतस आषाद शवै कालो यो प्रियै प्रिययोषिताम्. Yes, Rupesh Prabhu.
Thus, King Puranjana, being attached to fruitive activities, karma kandya, as well as kith and kin, and being obsessed with polluted consciousness, eventually arrived at the point not very much liked by those who are overly attached to material things.
So, let's see. In this word, the word Priya Yoshitam, Apriyai are very significant. The word Yoshita means you woman, and Priya means dear or pleasing. Death is not very much welcome for those who are too much attached to material enjoyment, which culminates in sex. So there is an instructive story in this connection. Once, when a saintly person was passing on his way, he met a prince, the son of a king, and he blessed him, saying, My dear prince, may you live forever. The sage next met a saintly person and said to him, You may either live or die. Eventually, the sage met a brahmachari devotee, and he blessed him, saying, My dear devotee, you may die immediately. So, see the three things, right? Three things that prince was a blessing, you may live long or forever. Saintly person, either live or die. And a brahmachari devotee, die. Finally, the sage met a hunter, and he blessed him, saying, "Neither live nor die." The point is that those who are very sensual and are engaged in sense gratification do not wish to die. Generally, a prince has enough money to enjoy senses, therefore, the great sage said that he should live forever. For as long as he lived, he would enjoy life, but after his death, he would go to hell. Since the brahmachari devotee was leading a life of severe austerity and penances in order to be promoted to back to Godhead, the sage said that he should die immediately so that he need not continue to labor hard and could instead go back home, back to Godhead. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a very beautiful context actually in this context of these four things. Then, the saintly person may either live or die, for during his life he is engaged in serving the Lord, and after his death he also serves the Lord. Thus, this life and next are the same for the saintly devotee, for in both he serves the Lord. Since the hunter lives a very ghastly life due to killing animals, and since he will go to hell when he dies, he is advised to live. He is advised to neither live nor die. Yeah. So King Puranjana finally arrived at a point of old age. In old age, the senses lose strength, and although an old man desires to enjoy his senses, especially the sex life, he is very miserable because his instruments of enjoyment no longer functions. Yeah, so we'll stop today here, and next section is very beautiful actually from text 13, where we see, Chandavega or Chandavega is going to attack Puranjana or the city of Puranjana. Yeah, we'll continue next Monday, and yeah, so nothing. So tomorrow we'll continue our nectar devotion, but on Thursday it seems to be we might not be able to continue CC reading as it's Narasimha Chaturdasi, and I most likely will be going to temple for festival. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare